Hello and welcome back to the Atelior training for the 2020 Colorado Seatbelt Survey. You've just taken a look at schedules and time tracking in T-Sheets. Now we'll be continuing training in Expensify by looking first at mileage in this video, and then in the following video, we'll look at expense reporting in Expensify. In reviewing your typical daily timeline, you'll see that we will be using Expensify every day to track your mileage for reimbursement when you're out doing surveys. You'll start it as soon as you've clocked in using T-Sheets. Once you've logged into your iPad, your home screen should look something like this. Here, again, you'll see the 3 apps that you'll use most often during the surveys. Please remember, these iPads are Atelior company equipment, not intended for personal use, so do not install additional applications unless needed for this project, and only if instructed to do so. The first thing you'll typically do in a workday is clock in, which we've done already in T-Sheets. Now we need to start tracking our odometer reading. To do this, we'll be using the Expensify app, as you see here. Select it now, and you may see this login screen. You won't always come to this screen, and I can't explain why you might or might not, but sometimes you'll open directly into the application. If you are required to log in again, I've set you all up with your phone number as your login and a password that I will have given you directly. Here you come to the opening screen, which is most typically your inbox. Your iPad should already be configured with the Expensify app set up specifically for you, so you don't need to worry about these messages from the concierge. Instead, you'll click on the 3 blue lines in the upper left-hand corner to get to Reports. Whether you are reporting expenses or mileage, you will always work from the Reports screen. Though Expensify allows several ways to do the same thing, we will always follow the same procedures for consistency's sake. So from the left-hand menu, choose Reports. As you see, you are set up with 6 reports specific to you, pre-populated on your iPad. This includes 3 mileage reports and 3 expense reports. Each one of those for a specific period of the survey. The training period, which goes through the end of April, pre-mobilization during May, and statewide surveys during June. Since you will be using mileage far more often than expenses, we'll start the training here. Select the mileage report for the training period. Now you are taken to a report screen where we will be adding a new mileage expense. You see here the training mileage report is blank. As viewable that there is the no expenses tag. The preferred method to track mileage will be to use your odometer reading within Expensify. There's an option also to use a built-in GPS tracker. However, there will be instances where no cell coverage is available. Rather than sending up red flags with CDOT, where this is sometimes used and other times not used, we want to use a consistent method in reporting. To get started, please select the Add Expense or the plus sign. Once you've done that, you will come to the Expense Options selection, and our preferred method will be odometer. You're taken to the screen that allows you to enter your start reading. The keyboard will appear to allow you to simply type in that number. A tip from Richard is to reset your trip odometer to zeros and use this as your starting reading for the day instead of your actual mileage reading. When you've selected the start reading, the keyboard will appear and you can type in your starting mileage. You can also add a photo of your odometer simply by selecting the image icon to activate your iPad's camera. And you take a picture here as proof or for your own record keeping. You'll do the same thing at the end of the day for your end reading. Since you don't yet have the end reading, we will save this mileage tracking to complete at the end of the day. You're returned now to your report screen. It includes a list of all the mileage that you have during this reporting period, including the one we've just started. And it has a running total of your mileage and reimbursement for this reporting period. You would now perform your daily surveys. When you are done for the day, you'll come back to this screen and you'll select the trip that you began earlier this day. It should be the top entry. In the odometer option, you'll now repeat the process at the end of the day for the end reading and the additional details that we need to enter. The total distance will automatically be calculated once you've entered the end reading. It's very important to add details to your description. This should include your starting point and each survey site that you went to. It can be as simple as home, Morgan 606, 607, 608 to home. Once you've added all of these details, you enter or select Save. Again, this returns you directly to your mileage report. Here we see that full itemized list of all your mileage trips so far, again with a running total of your mileage and reimbursement for this reporting period. You can select any item to see it or to modify any detail. I select an entry. This now takes me to the trip details. Again, here we see all of the things that we've added, including the number of miles, the rate, the date of this trip, which you can change if you're adding it at a later date. It calculates the total at our default rate of 52 cents, and it gives the description that you entered earlier. In the future, if we can trust the automatic GPS recording of our trips, you'd also have a map of the trip to review, as you can see here. However, we don't have that option yet. If you need to make a change, simply select the item detail and the keyboard will pop up again to allow you to make modifications of that detail, whether it be your mileage or your description or the date. Once you've reached the end of a survey period and you've added all mileage into your report, you will submit it by selecting Submit Report. We will have 3 survey periods as mentioned before: the training and certification in April, pre-mobilization in May, and the statewide reporting in June. Each of these will have a due date for your mileage submission. If these dates change from those on this video, we will notify you. Todd will send out reminders when it is time to submit these reports. Once we select Submit Report, we are brought to the final review, which looks something like an email. It allows you to add the recipients to your report. Please add chris.peterson at atelior.com. Notice that Peterson is spelled S-E-N, and todd.tuel at atelior.com. Again, be careful with the spellings to ensure that these are submitted. Add a subject line, identifying the survey period, whether it's training, pre-mobilization, or statewide, as well as the type of a report, mileage in this case, or later we will learn how to submit expenses in this same way. From this screen, you can also preview the report before sending it. When we select Preview Report, we are brought to this screen that gives us an itemized list of all of the drives, as well as a running total for the reimbursement. If you are satisfied with the report, you will return to the final review. This is the screen that we just saw a moment ago that looks like an email. If you are satisfied, you will hit Submit at this point. If you're not satisfied and there is an issue that you've noticed, you'll select Cancel, which will return you to the previous screen then to make adjustments. When you do cancel and need to make a change, here, just as before, you can select any one of those itemized trip details to go in and make adjustments. When everything is good and you have submitted or sent this final report, then you will be returned directly to this mileage report screen. It looks much like it did before, but you will notice this time it now shows processing rather than open. It's no longer part of your active reports, and it does not show up as open, which means that you cannot add new mileage. But don't worry, because we're here to help you if you have made an error. This concludes the basic elements of tracking and submitting mileage reports. This app can seem a little daunting. So if you need help, just ask. If you do make a mistake or have a problem, contact Todd to assist you. We can reopen a report to make changes from our end, or we can send it back to you to make those changes yourself. In our next video, we will look at Expensify again, this time with a tutorial on how to submit your expenses in Expensify rather than your mileage. Again, thank you for joining me.